okay, what are the chances the Kings have 2 All-Stars this year? I'm like, that's not like getting 2 All-Stars is tough. The Kings just probably want 1 All-Star. That'd be enough. Who do you think it would be, Fox or Sabonis? And don't even take into account the fact that maybe Sabonis has a little bit of an easier path because the point guard situation is a little like tougher, I guess, or maybe we'd say like guard is like a more dense, position in terms of making it into the All-Star team. But take that out of the equation. Just like, who do you think is like going to be that guy? Like, if you really had to like pick.
I think it'll be Sabonis. I don't know. It's not like you're trying to team me up for a Fox, but I think it'll still be Sabonis. I just think Sabonis is so good, and sometimes like what he does, it's not flashy. He's not like Fox where he's like probably gonna pop off for 35, once every other week, which I hope Fox can do. But Sabonis, like that 18 and 12, it's not like exciting or anything. But he does it efficiently, and I really hope he can average about like 5-6 assists a game this season. I think him and Fox are really gonna share that assist load because you kind of want to see Fox as a point guard, as an elite point guard in this league, to average like 8 assists at least, right? Like 7.5 plus. But with Sabonis on that team, we all know the offense is really going to run through that guy. So I think I want to see, honestly, Sabonis and Fox average, 10, 11 assists between the both of them. That's why I think Sabonis will get it. I think those assist numbers, if he's averaging above 5 and along with 18 and 12, that's a pretty good stat line.
I think you're right, but I think just on the assist thing, it's in such a pass heavy offense. Everybody's going to be. I mean, I can't imagine Fox getting more than like 7. I would honestly think that he'd get it somewhere in the 6 range, 6 to 7 a game. Just because I think like I don't know, maybe I'd have to look it up, but I don't know what Steph Curry's assist totals, and I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying as the point guards of teams that are going to be very pass heavy, like when Steve Kerr came to Golden State. If I'm not mistaken, like Steph Curry was kind of in that range. But on the question of which one would be a All-Star, I agree with you that it would be Sabonis. And I think one of the things that'll kind of make that super obvious is that if the Kings are playing well and they're winning games, and you're talking about one All-Star going, Sabonis is the best team rep because he makes everybody around him better. He's the difference maker, and he would be such a good representative of a team that's doing well. Got to get there first, but I could totally envision that. But for the sake of the argument, Fox being an All-Star, and again, like it's more likely that Sabonis is going to be an All-Star over Fox, but it could be. Fox would have to, the way he closed out last year, Sabonis trade to his injury. He'd have to do that for, from October to February, and hopefully onward. But he'd have to do exactly that, which would mean not only scoring 28 a game, but hitting threes, playing defense, being the leader of this team. And, I think he can do most of those things. I think the big questions are the 3-point consistency and the defensive consistency. Everybody knows that De'Aaron Fox is low in the analytic stats for defense, except when he plays really, tough competition. So I've noted this with with Herter, is that Herter has a way better defensive rating in the playoffs. He actually puts out highlight clips of his defensive play in the playoffs. And in the regular season, he has his moments. He's, like I always say, he's still probably a two-way player. He's so good offensively, and he's pretty solid defensively. But he's like not great, But in the playoffs, he can be. And it's like if you, especially with Mike Brown running things, if you can just get people to buy into that, that could be a big thing. And I think that could really affect Fox. And of course, Brown has that connection to Fox from high school. He said he was a dog defensively when he saw him. So he just got to get him to buy into that. And, we're just talking about how bought into the system and how bought into this team and their chances Fox seems, and how confident and locked in he looks. Or not looks, but sounds. We don't really know anything. His camp's just starting. But, there's definitely a path to Fox being an all-star. But I think you're right. I think chances are that Sabonis um, would be the guy.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's either they're both going to be all stars or neither of them will be all stars. Because
Fair.
unless one of them puts a ridiculous stat line out, but I think more realistically, for the Kings to have an all star is that the Kings are going to have to prove that they're one of the better teams in the league, and for that to happen, both Fox and Sabonis will have to go on a tear, right? I mean, it's the load's going to be on their back. So if the Kings are doing well, that means Fox and Sabonis are doing well, and that means if they're like a fourth seed, I mean that's crazy, right? We'll say like even sixth seed, which is still crazy, but man, it's like kind of what you have to do to become an all-star in this league. You have to be on a winning team. So, I mean,
it goes hand in hand. It's in lockstep. You're totally right.
Yeah. So
they probably, it's almost, honestly, I think you could, betting odds would probably be no all-star.
Yeah, probably. I would bet no all-star this year. Maybe next year a little different, but there's always surprise teams every season. There's always like the Timberwolves last year. Look what they did. They were a pretty good team that was, on par with the Kings for being like one of the worst run teams for a while. They made some moves in the recent years, but I mean, look what the Kings did. The Timberwolves traded for D'Angelo Russell, or a couple of years ago, right? And drafted well in Anthony Edwards, and look where they ended up last year. Like they were a solid team, made the playoffs. Look at the Kings, trade for an all-star and Sabonis, draft a guy like Keegan Murray, have Davion Mitchell coming into his second year. Davion Mitchell's no Anthony Edwards, but he's just a couple moves away, just like the Timberwolves were. And, you can argue that the Kings are, looking at potentially the same season of what the Timberwolves did last year.